Hey everybody, I have a video here for you today, and this is by request. Now, I made a video on the China pyramids, and I made about 3 or 4 total before that, but I went over a few things and how these pyramids are laid out. But I will leave a bunch of links below, but I had some really good questions, and I'm going to go over those. But I am working on a few videos, and this will really be a good segue into my next history video. Also, for new subs, I also upload some songs once in a while. And I think I'll have a song from Dendel a little later tonight. But let's just get into this pyramids in China issue, and where do they come from, and does it match other stories from around the world? Well, let's take a look. Now, here's a video I made a couple months ago, and this gives you a good idea of how to find the pyramids in China on Google Earth, and I will leave this link below. But I got some good questions after this video, especially how I related how the pyramids here in China are laid out along the river, kind of like the pyramids in Egypt are laid out along the Nile. So I thought I would look into this a little deeper. And here is a good website, and I will leave the link below. But the history in China is kind of vague, not a lot of access, and the things that we are learning are pretty recent discoveries. But especially on Google Earth, there's some videos on YouTube that show these pyramids. And I've made probably about 4 or 5 and found maybe over 5-6 dozen pyramids total. Now, there was some work done on these in the 1960s, and also at that time there was a gentleman's diary discovered who was here in the very early 1900s. Let's just read a little. But this gentleman's name was Schroeder, and in 1912 he writes, "I captured the spirit of this magnificent spectacle. We drove around in search of the pyramid entrance, but we did not find anything. When Schroeder asked Baudichon, the local, about the age of the pyramids, he said it's more than 5,000 years. When asked why he believed so, Baudichon said, in our oldest books, written 5,000 years ago, these are referred to as the ancient pyramids. They were built in the times of the ancient emperors who said they originated from the sons of heaven that had descended to earth on their fiery dragons." Here is a map of some of these pyramid structures that are along the river here. It says, stretching from east to west for 50 kilometers, the valley resembles the Milky Way. Here you see how things are growing today, and they kind of tried to just cover these things up, but there is actually, it seems, causeways off the front of these that are covered up by time. And here are some of the clusters of pyramids. I don't know if there's really been good work done here on what these actually are representing, if they are representing anything as far as stars. Here's a look at some of the other ones. Here you see from ground level how big some of these structures are. Now, the people maybe 2,000, 3,000 years ago, did they repurpose some of these? And of course, the Terracotta Army, I featured those in a video from, I think, 2017. But I don't know. Seems to be the case in a lot of different areas of the world. But what about the origin of these structures? Well, according to the ancient Chinese legends that seem to be preserved and written about, it says construction of the pyramids took place during the reign of the emperors who originated from the sons of heaven, those who descended to earth on their fiery metal dragons. And you can take whatever you want from that. But who are the sons of heaven and how many are there? Well, the legendary Hung Dai is the main guy. Maybe he is the Thoth of this group. But he has assistants. How many total are there? Well, there are 7. But the legend kind of echoes other places, especially Egypt. But I'll talk about that in a second. But it talks about the sons of heaven being wise beings that appeared in the celestial empire long before the first states emerged in the Huanghe Basin. Huang Dai and his team of 5 male companions and 1 female companion descended from heaven to earth in a chariot. They were the 7 sons of heaven. So you can take into that interpretation, whatever you want. But the legend of 7 beings brought civilization long before recorded history started in China, and that is exactly like Egypt. The 7 sages roamed the Nile Valley and set up where the primordial mounds were to become the temples in Egypt. And we're going to talk about that tomorrow in a special video that's coming up. When it says they came down from heaven, I think it means they brought the plans of heaven down to earth. And here are some more pyramids in China. But when they talk about bringing the plans of heaven down to earth, that simply means to me, as above, so below. And as above, so below is not only in the Hermetic text, that also comes from the Vedic text. But not only the 7 sages who brought civilization to the Nile Valley and to the place we call Egypt today, but also the 7 rays of light, the 7 seers, brought civilization to the Indus Valley in the India region. And this comes from a lecture from the Penn Museum, Mesopotamian Scholarship, the 7 sages. Who are these people? These are the 7 Anunnaki who brought civilization to Mesopotamia long before recorded history. They are the 7 brilliant Akalas, the Paradu fish of the sea, who ensure the correct functioning of the plans of heaven and earth. This is the same story from all these different civilizations, and China is included. Here is one of the fishmen, the fish gods from Mesopotamian prehistory that carries knowledge forward. That's why they are carrying the handbag here, common throughout the world in some ancient reliefs. But here, striding forward, carrying knowledge forward, and it appears he is wearing what we would call a watch today. But these people come from the sea, an island, and we're going to be talking about that island from prehistory in my next video. And we're going to be matching up ancient text about a lost island where this guy and people from around the world came from. The stories all match up. But here is another pyramid in China. This is a blurry pic, but here you can tell some of these are actually step pyramids. The pyramids in China are a big mystery, but origin stories seem to match from other important places from around the world that seem to spring up thousands of years ago. Was there one common source that brought civilization to all these ancient places? Well, that's the way it seems to me. Hope you thought this was interesting, and you all have a very nice day.